Hey everyone, welcome to Breakout Wednesday. It's 11th October 2023. It's currently 10 a.m. on the West Coast, 1 p.m. on the East Coast. First of all, remember this is never financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. This is simply a video blog on how one trader sees the market, and everyone needs to take responsibility for their own decisions. What a difference 1 week makes, hey? Talking this time last week, the market was just dumping, and today, now we've had 5 up days. Doesn't mean it's going to go down again, but certainly there's been some pretty nice moves in stocks for those who didn't just give up when shit got hard, right? Now, before I get into stocks, like usual, just a little bit of housekeeping and something I want to just quickly chat for transparency reasons. I've been a paying member of ProTrader since 2001. Okay, I literally one of the earliest members, paying the company every month, right? The opportunity over the last week has come up to buy a majority of stake in the company, which I have done so. Okay, so me and Joanne Barham, who's been working for ProTrader for years now as customer service and trading stuff, and we own the majority of the company now. Frank Watkins is 100% still around. Okay, he's just gone from being by far the biggest shareholder to a much smaller shareholder. Okay, but he's still there for everyone who's been had relationships with Frank for 20-something years. He's still around. He's still going to be doing his Friday broadcast on every Friday. He will have the odd holiday and miss the odd one, okay, but he will be there most Fridays, and he'll still be reachable for those who love to reach him and have a chat to him, okay. The company's going to be going in a new direction. We also had Matt Carlson, who's a marketing and dev guy, buy a stake too, okay. So now we have big plans for the company, okay. The software there's going to be changes, going to be new scans, it's going to be beefed up, it's going to be I've got so many plans for it. It's not funny. And if you've got anything out of the Breakout Wednesdays over the last 4.5 years I've been doing them, I'd love to see you become a member of ProTrader and get behind the company with me, because I've obviously I'm not one of these guys that sells courses and shit that makes my money, right? I'm an active trader. I put my money where my mouth is, right? But I do love. There's not enough time. You can't just trade your whole life. This is something that is going to be very fun, I hope, and I really hope to create the best trading software in the world. And so if you've got anything out of Breakout Wednesday, have a think about joining the community. Okay, we're going to be launching a membership area. Exclusive website area, where your members can log in and interact privately without the prying eyes of Facebook and thousands of people in open Facebook groups where traders can just chat, in confidence, and just a kind of a really nice kind of community. So also, if you're a current member and you have ideas for new scans that you really want, just email us, support@protrader.com.au. Okay. Reach out, tell us the scans, and I promise you, if they make sense, we'll get it done. Okay, if I don't really think that they're top on the priority list, it might take 6 months, but if it's a gun idea, it'll be priority 1 and we'll just knock it out. Okay, and so as of a few days ago, this has all happened, and now you will notice changes happening to this software much faster from now on. Okay. That is all. Enough of that housekeeping shit. Let's just get back into stocks. So, first of all, I just wanted to rattle through some of the stocks I talked about last week. In my self-managed super fund, I've added to IVV. Okay, you just bought more down here. I got about 45.68 or something like that. On this day, maybe I forget, but and so I've just added to that. I've just dollar cost average into that. It's an S&P 500 S&P ETF, obviously, and in the long term, as I have discussed, I believe it's an incredible investment in the long term, especially when you buy dips. Okay, so I bought that, and just talking some of the stocks I've been rattling on about lately. Just the market was bottoming and getting crashed, and there were a lot of stocks basing, and then just when the market stopped going down, they just absolutely started flying. Okay, there's a few on the ASX, but mainly a lot on the American markets. Now, I just wanted to rattle through some of the stocks I had talked about last week on the ASX. ABB is still Davis boxed in a way. It's just sitting in its third box here. and I'm just watching it. Okay, obviously it's having a bit of a down day today, so it might just need longer to chop, or maybe it's never going to break. But the longer that base is, the better. And so that's still on the watch list. The other one is C79. Okay, it's in its third box. Obviously massive uptrend, and this is a bit of liquid. I can see everyone having a massive fight to try and get shares on the breakout of this. Okay, but it's basing away, and the Davis box looks absolutely beautiful. The other one I was chatting about last week is DDR, okay, which broke out kind of this consolidation yesterday. Today it's kind of just flat to at the moment. It's obviously the market's only been open for 2 hours or whatever at the moment. So so DDR is just one that's just getting started. Maybe CDA broke out. All right, I'm in CDA. Today it's a bit flat, so just up a tiny bit on that at the moment. We'll see how that plays out over the next few weeks. And all the others, I've got some new stocks to talk about, but I think that's roughly all I talked about last week. And so if we flick to the American markets, like the leaders at the moment are these, the massive tech companies. Meta, okay, back to new highs here. Nearly, I'm long here, right? I've been long since here, and I've added to it here. Google is back challenging highs. I think I bought 4 or 5 passes of Google now, so this is my biggest position by far, and I'm hoping this trend can continue. Obviously, so there's some support here. If it breaks that, we'll see what happens. But and it's a real lead-in stock. Obviously, I just think that so much money can be made in these big caps, and I know people, especially the tech companies, they can rally 20-30%, and I just think that it's a much safer bet than a lot of the tech stocks. But I guess you just need a bit of cash to be able to move a significant, worthwhile money into it, right? You don't have the leverage you have when you're trading, penny dreadfuls, okay? But I just think penny dreadfuls, I've never made, that much money from penny dreadfuls, to be honest. I just think it's hard. I think it's a sucker's game mainly. I'd trade the odd one, but I just think most people I know who spend their lives trading penny dreadfuls are, living in a poorhouse, right? So that's just the way I see it. DVAX is a Davis box that's came up in a weekly Davis scan, just Davis and then weekly, okay, which is one I do kind of really frequently. And it's just massive base here forming on DVAX, which looks amazing. So I'm watching that one. I'm watching EG, which is a finance stock, I think. 1 second. Everest Group, insurance, obviously with inflation in interest rates, insurance companies do okay. So it's just a massive base. It came up in a weekly Davis box scan too, and it's just basing under this huge resistance here, okay. So I love these big bases, okay. The bigger the base, the bigger the move, and my job's to find these really tight VCP patterns like sort of SMR was, okay, which was perfect, or also just finding these big bases like EVAX and EG. Okay, because statistically speaking, if I take 100 bases that look like EG, 60 to 70% of them are going to be winners, and if I let the winners run and I cut the losses real quickly, holy shit, that's a great way to make money, okay? And there's a few others, okay? I could just literally talk here for over an hour about stocks I'm watching, and mainly on the US markets. MLTX, massive 3-point resistance up here. There's huge gap away on good news, obviously, and then just forming a huge base and just tightening in the VCP currently. Okay, so that's another one I'm watching. NCNO, I'm still watching. Okay, it's just another massive base stock. This one's a wild kind of loose one, and I just really would need that to tighten up before I even considered it. But certainly one I'm watching. And then just back to the ASX for a sec. I'm still watching NHC just base away in its third Davis box, okay? I said last week that I wanted that to base longer than it started, it did, it came down and tested, had a retracement, now it's bounced, and so it's kind of doing what I asked it to do, and if, I would love a little bit more basing, but it's certainly really forming up there as a pretty nice Davis box. And then I'm still got my eyes on TNE. I need to be careful because I've pretty aggressively got into a few stocks over the last week, and I really don't want to add too many more this second, just because I've kind of got into the market maybe a little bit more aggressively than I usually do. But But T&E is really shaping up. Okay, we've got obviously this flush out here. Okay, and just now VCP forming here. If this can, I'd love it to just stay under there for a few more days, so it hasn't just run up from this low and then broken straight out. If it can have a couple of days here where it chills out and then break out, I think it would be nearly perfect. So T&E's still on that watch list. And then I don't really trade these next patterns, but there are a lot of these things around, okay? Channels, trend lines, whatever you want to call them, that are just churning down, have been churning down and look like they are threatening massive breakouts. NEU is one, be careful, have fun trading that. It's just like the most volatile bloody thing. I've been in it a few times and it's always been entertaining, but if these patterns, these kind of downsloping resistance channel lines are everywhere. Like Woolworths has one. Okay, we've got a bit of intraday data on today, so obviously it opened up here and it's now, you really need, for these trend lines to mean jack shit, they really need to have 3 touches of that resistance, which we've got now. Okay, Woolies does like to break out of these channels and have rallies. Okay, you can just see the last example I've got here where with it successfully did that. And there are so many of these around. Okay, Coles has one. There's a lot more relative strength in Woolies and Coles, but it's kind of broken out of it already. But everywhere you look, I can find these little channels. Okay, like for example, here's one on Bowen. Okay, that broke out the other day. This incredible downtrend and just tight, and then broke out and went. And so I definitely think that there's massive edge in these channel breaks. Like there's huge edge in them. I just think that there's so many trades out there, and as a trader, you just need to like have your favorite ones. And for me, there's just I just think that the flat bases are statistically, I get more success from them because they're so black and white, and and you get the benefit of a lot of those stocks breaking out into new all-time highs, right? So, and it's complete blue sky. So if you look at DVAX, I talked about later, and that came up in that weekly Davis. If DVAX, it's got some overhead supply back here, but that's from well over a year ago. This is from 221. So there's a lot more there's less pissed off shareholders that want to dump their stock just above the resistance line, and I think the odds of a really fast rally are much higher. So anyway, that's why I kind of like my horizontal flat bases, but it's a personal thing, and I definitely think there's massive edge in those channels. Lastly, guys, I've just been putting out this blog every now and then for fun. I released one the other day about why the USA kicks the ASX's ass. And, if you haven't signed up already, have a read. I've got, a fair bit of interesting shit in there for those who are still just trading the ASX. I really do think that, the opportunity for me is in the American markets. And I'd say 80% of my trading is in the American markets these days. I want to be in the leaders of the AI boom. I want to be in Google and Meta. I want to be able to trade the fast-moving tech stocks and some of the biggest growth stocks in the world. And I just can't do that when I concentrate on the ASX, okay? Also, having my money in USD over the last 6 months has been pretty damn good with the FX movement. So that's it for this week. Reach out if there's any dev and programming and scan ideas for ProTrader. Support at protrader.com.au, and and it'd be awesome to hear from you. Cheers, bye.